Hello, welcome to Sideways. Sorry, there's quite a lot of road noise this morning as opposed to bird noise, and I don't know about you, but I know which one I prefer. Anyway, this week I've been trying hard to find the perfect gingerbread recipe, which is something I've been doing for a number of years now. Every time November comes around, I start to think about the necessity for Christmas gingerbread, and I can never find a recipe that quite suits my tastes, that's gingery enough, chewy enough, soft enough, but still with enough heft to cut out a star shape or a picture of Jesus in the manger, whatever it might be. So anyway, this year I've decided to take matters into my own hands and craft my own recipe, which I suppose is in many ways reflective of something that is true to me, which is the pursuit of, well, I'm not going to say excellence, but once I get an idea in my head, it often feels very important for me to follow it to its conclusion. And one might say that that's something that burns within me, that is fundamental to the way that I operate, and that's what we're talking about this week. In addition, Martin celebrates a sobriety anniversary, and we talk about the merits of taking a bath with some apples. Core values. Come on, Days. Okay, that's an interesting way to start a conversation.
Yeah, it just said the recording's in progress. I was talking to the lady, which advised me that this is in fact recording.
You know she's not real, don't you? She's just virtual.
Oh, well, you sort of spot my illusions to
Did you think there was a woman waiting for us when we record? And when I press record, she tells me, yeah, it's okay, Graham, it's recording properly.
Yeah, she personally sits in her Microsoft office somewhere in America and tells us.
Well, I think that would be nice. I mean, that would be job creation, wouldn't it?
It would, and it'd be a nice personal touch. But I know we have, on a couple of occasions, gone right through a potential recording and not hit the record button, which has annoyed us immensely, hasn't it?
I like the way you shared responsibility for that, because, as we both know, it is my responsibility because I'm the one that records it. So that was kind of you to sort of partially share the load, as it were.
Thank you. We're a team. It was a team. Yeah. It was a team effort, or not, on those occasions.
There's no I in team, is there? Yeah, very good.
Remember not to leave that in, eh?
Yeah, now you're going to be slightly worried now, aren't you?
Until it comes out on Thursday.
When that happens, when you say something inappropriate that I have to then edit out,
yeah,
as you just have done, right?
Yes.
Are you always slightly worried that I'll have forgotten and left it in?
Yeah, there is a slight anxiety about it. Yeah. So listening back is always always listen back before I put it onto social.
Yeah, because you're an upstanding member of society these days. So
well, I always was, but thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try and remember.
I have other responsibilities. You're absolutely right. But it comes back to my core values, I suppose.
Yeah, that's one of your better segues.
Which is what we're going to be talking about today. It's a subject I've been considering for some time.
Why?
Well, it's something I didn't really know how to pin down. But it came up again recently at work, so I felt it'd be a good time to do a little bit of research into the matter. Turns out it can be quite extensive. To cover, but I thought we'd just look at some of the basics, really, where the core values potentially come from, how we can define and change them. So,
are you going to define what a core value is?
I will, yes.
Oh, excellent, that's good. I like the way you do a thorough job. You do an even more thorough job these days when you're kind of going away from this environment and then presenting it to other people.
I had to be on my mettle. I have to fact check myself a little bit more.
Yeah, essentially, I'm kind of helping your professional development here.
You are
having this conversation with you.
It's like a CPD session.
You could put this down as CPD hours, couldn't you?
Oh, good. Yeah. know if the regulators would see it that way, but I would.
Well, no, I think most, certainly in my profession, governing bodies are pretty flexible in terms of what they consider CPD. You can
Yeah.
books, videos. I mean, obviously, has to be an appropriate video. It can't be Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or something.
Unless you're doing research into shrinking people, then it's all right.
Or yeah, the impact of sudden physical change. For example. The impact that might have on one's emotional well-being.
It seems like you've used that sort of ruse before.
I haven't. It just suddenly came to me, but perhaps I will use it in the future.
Yeah, well, I mean, your core values. I mean, this is very relevant to those with addiction issues. Especially people that go into recovery. They get the opportunity to challenge some of the core values that perhaps haven't served them as particularly well in the past.
Or get in touch with what they are for the first time, perhaps.
Absolutely, yeah. Or, been shielded from them with the drink and drugs for so long.
Yeah.
They don't really know what they are.
Yeah.
But before we start...
Yes.
Before we start, since we recorded 2 weeks ago...
Yeah.
On November the 4th, I completed my 13th year of sobriety, which is always a nice milestone to get to each year.
Yeah, congratulations. Of course, I telegraphed that some weeks earlier, didn't I?
You did. I think, you sort of, it seems like a lesser accomplishment now, as you already
Well,
thought.
not really. I mean, that is a great accomplishment. I just happened to make a mistake and say that you were 13 years sober before you were. But as I said to you at the time, that was, one could frame it as a bit of encouragement, to ensure that you didn't lapse in those final few weeks. So I'm now going to start talking to people about you being 14 years in recovery.
Into my 14th year, I could say. That confuses people.
Yeah.
It's like being in the 20th or 21st century. People can't get their heads around it sometimes.
Exactly. Well, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
If I can find a little audio clip of a round of applause, I'll put one on there.
Could you do that? Well, what you could put on there is, as I've said before, in my mind, the very annoying fireworks that go up on November the 5th, the celebration at the start of my new sober year.
Yeah.
And they've been particularly loud this year and over a prolonged series of days, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah, why did fireworks have to make bangs? I mean, I get the lights. That's nice, right? It's quite nice watching the fireworks. Why do they have to make loud bangs? What's the attraction of that? It's just frightening, isn't it?
I really don't know. And living next to the barracks, it sounds like they're putting incendiary bombs around the area because they make my windows rattle. They really do.
Yeah. It's no good, is it?
No, it isn't any good. Anyway, I stumbled across a story from Japan. I just thought I'd run by you. Where they often will put a large quantity of apples into the bath water with them.
Oh,
which is supposed to be quite relaxing, give off a nice fragrance.
Really?
Which is a rather strange thing to do. I mean, I'd imagine it would be quite difficult to eat them afterwards. It would be a bit of a waste of apples, wouldn't it, really?
You wouldn't want to sit on one either, would you?
No, you wouldn't want to sit on one. I mean, I'm just thinking, all the soap and that in there, window soap, not going to be very nice. I suspect they'll all end up tasting of verrucas and sweaty gonads, and you don't you don't want that, do you?
Not really. Did they specify any particular variety that was good for putting in the bath?
They didn't. No, I didn't go that far into it.
I thought about it long enough, I'd think of some pun linked to the name of an apple variety, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
You can come back to that. You can edit it in, can't you? Make yourself sound witty and off the cuff.
Yeah.
But I know you weren't a great swimmer, but...
I'm not a great swimmer.
Not a great swimmer. No, I was just thinking about childhood because I used to spend a lot of time in baths. And verrucas, talking of verrucas, they were a thing of the day back in the 70s. I remember going to the doctors and they used to sort of cut them out of your foot.
Yeah.
Quite brutal. Did you ever have one?
No, I never had a verruca, but that was one of the upsides of not really going swimming very much.
Yeah.
You don't really hear much about verrucas these days, do you?
No, they're very popular back then.
Have they died out these days?
I don't know. Perhaps we've built up an immunity.
Don't people bother with them anymore?
Don't bother. Perhaps we've evolved.
Actually, on that subject, someone was saying to me the other day, and I hadn't considered this until he said it, and then I thought, yeah, that's absolutely right. years ago, when you were driving on the motorway, particularly in the summer when the weather was warm, you would be forever getting little bugs die on your windshield, wouldn't you?
Oh,
So
yeah,
you wouldn't be
yeah.
able to see because there'd be
Yeah.
so. Don't get that at all, do you now?
No, you don't. I think our insects are dying out, aren't they?
Yeah, that's climate change for you, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, it's keeping our windshields cleaner, but it's not very good.
Yeah, well, I call them windscreen, but windshield is very American of you, isn't it?
Well, that's okay. Do I prefer windshield or windscreen? I'm not sure. I certainly prefer fall to autumn.
Yeah. Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, you are becoming very Americanized. But what I did, going back to those bugs, I remember
Yeah.
when I had a motorbike, my visor used to get covered in them as well, and that used to be quite dangerous.
Yeah. Well, there you go then. So if you're a motorcyclist, then you're probably pleased about climate change, aren't you?
Yeah.
You hate the planet if you ride a motorbike, don't you?
I remember getting a wasp on the inside of a crash helmet once under my bike. That proper freaked me out as I was going along.
I remember putting my hand down on a wasp at scout camp once when I was waiting to pick something up at the quartermaster's tent. That was painful. That was the same scout camp that Stephen Stubbs threw an enamel plate up in the air and it came down and hit me on the back of the head.
I think your memories of scout camp are not all positive, are they?
Hated it. Hated scouts. Hated scout camp. Horrible.
Anyway, you better cut all this lot out because it's in.
No, I think listeners are. I think listeners are interested in this.
Are they? Okay.
I think they are. I think they're interested in the minutiae of our lives.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, but having said that, I'm still going to move on to the subject matter.
All right. Yeah. Well, hang on. Just before you do.
Okay.
Had you forgotten that we were supposed to come up with something that we discovered serendipitously?
I had forgot that. Yeah.
Oh, had you? Well, I haven't.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, okay.
So I've got two things.
Okay. You putting that in here? Okay.
Well, I'm going to put it in here, yeah, because it doesn't fit anywhere else, does it?
No, not really.
So I'm going to tell you that I discovered Jane Seabury, who's a Canadian musician,
Okay.
serendipitously, because a friend of mine said, I'm going to see this gig in London. Would you like to come? And I'd never heard of her. And I thought, oh, well, I will. And she became one of my kind of favourite artists and accompanied me through all manner of life events, which is kind of fits a little bit with core values, because one of the things that changes core values is life events, isn't it? And the other thing is guitar chords.
Okay.
I quite often discovered those serendipitously
Just
by not really knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And just thinking, I wonder what it'll sound like if I put my fingers here.
Okay.
I like the guy you knew who used to have a small sherry and try and discover new jazz chords on the piano.
He did, and spent a long time. So I'm sure you share his core value in that.
Yeah. So those were serendipitous. And you said you had something. Do you remember what it was?
No, I don't.
Oh, crikey.
I don't, unless I jotted it down somewhere. But no,
That's shocking. I've been waiting for that for 2 weeks to find out what it was.
Yes, I have. I found it on my pad.
Go on.
I was at school doing my A-level art, and I went down to the river in Maidstone to do some sketching and do some drawing down by the river, down near the Sharps sweet factory around there.
Yeah.
And I sat down. I went to put my hand on this tree stump, and the tree stump was quite hollow. And inside it, I found a brand new radio in a box. It was, which was really bizarre. It'd obviously been stacked there. It had been stolen by someone or something and been stored away there. I thought, I'd imagine the person thought no one will ever find that. So I was deep into the thicket alongside the river, and there it was.
Wow.
Yeah, so I took that home and had a brand new radio, which served me well for many years.
That's good. That was very serendipitous. I've said that word several times now and not mispronounced it yet.
No, you haven't. And Serendipity was the name of my dad's boat when he had it on the River Medway.
I remember.
Yeah.
The one that he fell off.
He did fall off on a couple of occasions. Yeah, always funny. Anyone falling in off a boat is funny.
No, the thing that was funniest about your dad falling in on one occasion was you saying that as he was going, as he was falling into the water, he said, "Oh, I'm in."
He did, yeah, in midair, yeah. It's to give us fair warning to go and rush and get the pole that he could hang on to so we could drag him out.
Very good. Anyway, core values.
Definition.
Yeah.
This is from the Oxford English Dictionary, so we'd like to think we can rely on that. Very briefly, it's a principle or belief that a person or organisation views as being of central importance.
Yeah.
Are you all right with that?
Yeah, it sounds all right, doesn't it?
It does, and according to my research, core values are influenced by a number or a variety of factors,
Yep.
including, I don't know,
Yes.
including probably one of the most important ones, really, family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or,
Yes.
yeah,
Early family experience. Yeah.
yeah. Most values are learned from parents, aren't they, and extended family.
Yes.
And
Initially.
yeah, it's core values change obviously throughout your life, don't they? In that first section under family, it just goes into a couple of areas that we feel that are essential to teach your children, and they are honesty, gratitude, empathy, respect, and responsibility.
Yeah, I suppose you're teaching. You're teaching them through what you show them, aren't you? I mean, this is the thing with parenting. Kids tend to do what we show them rather than what we tell them.
Yes, it's role modelling, isn't it?
Yeah. So when I think about responsibility, for example, I know that my mother used to leave me alone in the house when I was really quite young. I mean, I don't mean, 2 or anything, but when I was kind of 7, she wouldn't have any qualms about leaving me alone in the house. And I'm not sure I particularly liked it, but it did teach me responsibility. I did kind of think, right, well, I've got to. I kind of felt this necessity to be okay with it. When I'm being left, I've got to be okay with it. So, although it was in some respects quite difficult, I think probably in the long term it did teach me something quite valuable, which was my ability to rely on myself.
Yeah, that just reminds me. I remember as a kid, if ever I got left alone in the house, I used to be scared to go upstairs.
Right.
Yeah, which is rather weird. The comfort of just being down near, I suppose, near an exit.
Is that why you live in a flat?
It is, yeah, which is a bit more. Yeah, I've come to terms with it now. I constantly live upstairs. But the second one was culture.
Yeah.
And how cultural contexts and shared environments contribute to our value development, which is quite straightforward. And if you think about different cultures around the world,
and the society in which we live.
Yeah.
Which is kind of part of the same thing, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it is. The other area was life experiences. And new experiences can change previously held values, which we touched on there. I mean, for me, that sort of had been a big shape. I mean, when you are when you're in the madness, you only have one real core value, and that's to get your drink or drugs.
Yeah,
get them as quickly as possible. But that obviously changes as time goes by. When you go into recovery, your core values change immensely.
But the influence of personal experience and life events, I think, can't be underestimated, can it? Because we're talking there about things like marriage and birth and death. And, when you lose people, even when you lose people at times that kind of you feel are appropriate. So even if your parents are very old and they die, it still changes you when that happens. But when you lose parents younger or you lose a sibling like you did, those are massively influential experiences and really can have a significant impact on the way that you see the world and the things you feel are important. I mean, I know when Paul died, you certainly felt that vodka was quite important, didn't you? After that,
I did. Yeah, it did, and it changed the way you thought about things. You question everything at that point.
Yeah,
And I've seen it happen with other people that I've come across in recovery. With certainly death of a sibling or someone young before their supposed time.
Yeah,
it can make people question their religion, question their faith, they question just about everything that's happening at that point.
Yeah,
and your core values can shift quite significantly.
But it's the same with happy events, isn't it? When your children are born, everything changes.
Yeah.
Everything changes. It's like, all those things that felt so significant and important to me before suddenly don't mean anything anymore because I've got this child, this little person that's relying on me, and that's my focus. So those sorts of things are seismic, I think. I suppose moving to another country, living in another culture, all those sorts of things are massive.
They are. But going back to the children one, I think you're absolutely right, because you become less selfish, I think, at that point, because suddenly there's people in your life or a person who's just been born that you'd definitely take a bullet for. You'd definitely stand in the way of an oncoming train, which perhaps you wouldn't have done before. But suddenly you find yourself in a completely different position.
I'd take a glancing blow from a small vehicle for you.
Well, that's pretty good, actually.
I mean, only like a Ford car or
yeah,
a KA
going at 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, just going over a speed bump.
Yeah. Okay, thanks,
just
mate.
Brushing against me.
Well, I think you hold me in very high esteem. No one's ever said that before.
Yeah, I think I've gone above and beyond there.
To be honest, yes. So, I touched on here the belief system. Can have massive, your faith in whichever religion you're brought up in, then that's going to shape the way you think. And you can get the doctrines from your religion, which will shape you forever. Unless you particularly want to change it, you'll stick with it, won't you?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Education.
Yeah.
Massive, I think, isn't it? And I think, depending on, we've all known teachers that are good and teachers that you think, I'm not really learning a great deal from them.
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of education, in terms of teachers, sometimes they'll either reinforce things that you've learned positively from your early caregivers, or sometimes they can even fill things in that haven't been present.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they can be, I think we've spoken about this before, they can be incredibly influential, but unless you're unless you're very fortunate, you probably won't have too many teachers that have that sort of impact on you.
No, you won't. It reminds me of that clip that went viral of Ian Wright, the Arsenal footballer.
Yeah.
When after many years, his teacher suddenly turned up at the ground.
Yeah.
When he actually thought he had died many years earlier, and this teacher had been a massive influence on Ian, and had put him forward and had championed him in many ways, and really shaped his life, which, looking at it from the outside, was going to be very troublesome.
Yeah.
And I think he lacked a role model at home, and suddenly this chap came along and took an interest in him, and his career flourished.
Yeah.
So it's a good illustration of that, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Feeling connected, included, part of something is a critical influencer for core values. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he mentioned that in that video clip. Ian Wright was saying that he suddenly got responsibility because he was given the milk monitor's job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you remember doing that at school? You get a chance to be a milk monitor. I think they used to rotate it.
Yeah.
That's when free milk was given out.
Yeah, or you'd be the paint monitor. You'd have to gather in the paints at the end of the afternoon and wash all the pots up and stuff.
Yeah, or you'd be given a prefect's badge or something like that. And suddenly you had this whole new area of responsibility, which gave your self-esteem a little push in the right direction, didn't it?
Yeah, and as you say, that's about taking responsibility, isn't it? And feeling as if, there's something more important than you. There's something bigger than you.
Well, exactly. I think your core values...
I mean, at school, there wasn't anything bigger than me. I was enormous.
Well, I'm glad you said that, but... But it is like the milk monitor situation. Your core value changes when you become in charge.
Yeah.
In the past, you used to moan about it being left out in the warm and that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, that was vile, wasn't it?
Awful. But then when you were dishing it out, you had to defend that position more. So your values certainly changed.
Yeah, you had to toe the party line, didn't you?
At an early age.
Grateful you've got any milk.
Yeah, exactly that.
Because if you could see into the future, you'll know that Margaret Thatcher's going to take it away from you.
Yeah, drink it up now while it's still fresh.
Exactly, while it's still warm.
The last one there was genetic makeup.
Oh, yeah, who you are, your personality and character,
Yeah, because obviously that's moulded, and certainly we know in addiction, it's a massive reason or a massive makeup of the addict. Well, up to 50% of the reason you become an addict is genetic.
Yeah.
Which is why I always defend the position of the addict when they have no choice over their condition going forward. Or going forward they have, but being set up with it in the first place.
Yes, it's a fine line, isn't it, between surrender and taking responsibility.
It is, yeah.
You might not have been able to prevent this happening, but you've got to take responsibility for fixing it.
Absolutely right, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's pushing people towards that second, or me getting pushed as well, or dragging myself or whatever to that second point, to that second. So your value changes, your core values change at that point, certainly.
Yeah.
I think again, when you're in the madness, when you're emotionally flatline, your core values stay the same, which is get your drink and drugs. Nothing else really matters, and anything else is a very poor second best.
Yeah, because according to, in a way, you've kind of, are you familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
I am, yes.
Right. So with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, essentially, if you're in active addiction, you're kind of constantly trying to satisfy the base of the pyramid, the kind of psychological needs, the physiological needs, and your safety needs. You're very much at the base, aren't you? This is what I need to survive.
Yeah.
And we know from that model that if you are focused on survival, then you aren't going to be. None of your core values are going to be aimed at your self-development, your self-actualization, or your creativity, or whatever it is. So active addiction is kind of keeping you bumping along at the bottom of that pyramid, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and that's where when we deliver the sessions on the hierarchy, it is something that most people that are in addiction will relate to. Being right at the bottom of the pyramid, you feel it as well. Psychologically, you feel you're down there in society's hierarchy. You feel
in many respects, you're apart from getting your drink and drugs, you're not really even satisfying your physiological needs, are you?
No,
you're not eating properly. You're not sleeping properly. You might not even have a home.
Well, quite. Yeah.
So you might end up having baked beans for lunch on Christmas Day.
I did have that. Yes. Which it's a good reference point to look back on and think how things have changed over the 13 years.
Yeah. At least now you'd have baked beans with the little pork sausages in it, wouldn't you?
You would, yeah. I've upgraded, all day breakfast in a tin. You can't go wrong with one of those.
I've never had that, but just the thought of it just feels abominable.
They're not great.
No,
they're not great. Anyway, going back to our core subject. Apparently there's two types of values, which again I wasn't really.
What about life stage? Isn't that also an influence?
It's not in. Would that come under one of those?
I don't know. It doesn't feel like it would. I'm just thinking about how our attitude and our outlook changes as we grow older. So, for example, people talk about midlife crisis happening at late 40s, 50 or 40 or whatever. But actually, part of that is really about a life stage, isn't it? Where you're getting to the point where you might have had your family, you might have reached the peak of your professional life, and there's a question in you about, well, what's this for then? What's my purpose? What am I about? And I think that can have a big impact on resetting and causing you to reevaluate your core values.
I agree. Yeah, we touched on life experiences, didn't we? You say, but that's what you're mentioning there is it's slightly different, isn't it? When you get a change,
it is, because rather than it being an experience, it's I've just hit 50. It's like everyone's going to do. If you're going to make it to 50, we're all going to hit 50, and there might not be anything specific happening in your life at that point, but there are points through your life where you become aware of, I don't know, how much is behind you? How much might there be left? As we get older, we naturally think about how much we've got left, don't we? We don't.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, goodness me, it's it's going to go on forever.
Yeah.
And so I think that massively changes your core values, because it forces you to think about, well, what do you want to do while you're here? Because when you're not here anymore, you won't be able to, there's not going to be the option. So I think that does make a big difference in terms of, and legacy and what you want to leave for your children and all that sort of stuff,
I agree. And I think you change values as far as you think, some things perhaps you might purchase something and you think, oh, well, actually that'll see me out now. Because you think in the end, this is the last time I've got to do this. Last time I've got to change my car or something, or change where I live. And so you think, that's it. That's it. And when you're in your teens, there's a whole area ahead of you, which you can change as you go along. But I think we get to our stage of life and you start to settle.
Yeah, and you have an even more powerful experience when you walk into a bookshop and think about all the books you're not going to be able to read that you'd like to have been able to because you won't have enough time.
You haven't got a time to do so. Yeah,
exactly. And you don't think about that when you're 20, do you? You think, oh, I've got forever.
Yeah.
But when you're elderly, like we are,
yeah, then there's a finite amount of time. These two types of values that I've come across as research suggest that there's instrumental values and terminal values. Have you come across those before?
No, I haven't really.
No, I hadn't. Instrumental values, desirable ways to act or behave, such as being honest, responsible, or loving, and terminal values, desirable end states, such as health, freedom, or family security.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I think those kind of aspirations are important to maintaining our values, but it also strikes me as being quite important to recognise that there's nothing we can do to create certainty around them.
No, there isn't. You're absolutely right. And I think it's sometimes quite difficult to pin down your own core values. I mean, unless you actually think about it, you bumble along and the core values, they sort of exist, but you don't really actually ever analyse them. Or to think, what are my core values? And it's only when you, when I was going through this, when I was doing the research, there was a way of finding out was there's a whole long list of values, and you could go through and sort of tick them and think, yeah, that's one of my core values.
That's interesting. I would have thought it's better to go the other way round and to ask yourself, say, well, what do I feel is important to me? Because the danger is with a list that you just think, oh yeah, that's one of mine. That's one of mine. But actually, part of the reason that we don't necessarily consciously reflect on it in the way that you've pointed out, I think it's because we're too busy living by them. Yeah,
I think you're right.
It's a bit like, how often do you stop and think about the process of breathing or walking? Well, you don't really do that because it's what happens. So our core values, as they shift over time, I think the shift is not necessarily something we're consciously thinking about. It's just happening. So when you stop and you say, what are my values? Which is a process that I think is quite useful. Being able to identify things that you feel sure about. For example, honesty or something like that, or integrity. Is that important to you? Do you feel like... So those sorts of things are, when you ask yourself, being able to separate those that you aspire to from those that you really live by is quite an important question, I think.
Yeah, it was tricky. I mean, the list just went on forever, as you can imagine. I mean, I was scrolling down on the screen, after a few hefty scrolls, I was still on letter A sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So it would have been an exercise that you've been put off from doing just by looking at the list. But you're right, it's a bit like having a to-do list or I have done list. The to-do list can be overwhelming, which you build up from the bottom and say, what I have done makes it more manageable. And I think you're right, because it went into things like, like gratitude and love and bravery. And that's not a segue onto a gratitude list, but I could have used it. I've only just thought of that now. But yeah, there's all sorts on there. Like,
that's kind of the other problem, isn't it, with that? Because if you look at a list like that and you see that gratitude is on there and you think, oh yeah, that's one of mine. What do you mean? You live a life. What does that mean? That you live according to the gratitude that you feel, so that you aspire for less because you're grateful for what you already have. I think that's the danger of looking at a list and doing a kind of pick and mix. Because if you don't do it like that, if you build it from the bottom up, then as you draw a conclusion about something that is a core value, you are more easily able to articulate why and how it affects. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense, because what it was suggesting from this list, if you ticked off 3, which you think are the most important ones, and then you could then write down one thing that out of each of those that you could reflect upon if you are living by those, or if there's something you could change, if you considered honesty as being the top one, And then when you analyse it, perhaps you hadn't either been honest with yourself or with other people. Perhaps that's something you could change. So as a way of cajoling your core values towards perhaps something better. But it's difficult. But it's difficult to know what better is in those situations and what you are, what you're aspiring to. That it's going to be advantageous to yourself and to everyone around you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a question as well, isn't it? That's a question of core value. What are you most interested in? Are you most interested in yourself or the people around you?
Yeah.
Or rather, where does that balance sit?
Yes.
You know? So it's quite, I mean, it is a very complex area, but I do think it's interesting. As I say, it's a conversation that I've often had with people in therapy. It is interesting for people to reflect on how well they feel they know the rules by which they live. Because if you don't really know, then that's kind of part of the cause of people when they say, well, I don't really know who I am. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Because you haven't really stopped to think about, well, what drives you? What are the beliefs and values that make you behave in the way that you do?
Yeah, I know one of the ones on the list was quite tricky, which was love or connections and relationships. You know, having that as a core value. Quite difficult, isn't it? I mean, love, again, it's so difficult to define.
Well, it's quite a good one in a sense because let's say, for example, you feel very strongly that one of your core values is self-development, okay, personal growth. Let's say that's a core value. I'm not saying it's always the case, but the likely consequence, or one of the likely consequences of that, is that you will probably sacrifice personal relationships to some degree because of it.
Yeah.
Which is going back to what I was saying before about where does that balance sit between who's most important, you or other people.
Yeah.
So if you're very invested in your own personal growth, that will by necessity sometimes make you a little bit selfish and might make you difficult to kind of be around, or might make you a kind of less appealing friend or partner or family member. And those are the sorts of things that I think are quite important for people to interrogate if they feel they're in a difficult place in their life, but they're not really sure why. So if you feel like, well, I feel a bit lonely, I feel a bit isolated, well, maybe it's because you invest a lot in trying to make yourself better and you're not considering the importance of your personal relationships. Maybe it's because, you know, you don't feel worthy of those relationships or whatever it might be. So I think that's where something like love is quite important. You know, what does it mean to you and how does it manifest in your life?
It was an interesting one because most of the people that come into recovery have great difficulty in dealing with love for themselves, liking themselves. And so, and the word that's bandied around often in meetings is being selfish. And saying in your recovery, you know, give this 3 months you're in rehab or whatever, you've got to be really selfish, and you just concentrate on yourself, and the relationships outside will take care of themselves whilst you're in here. And when you go outside, obviously you're going to be in a much better position. You're a better version of yourself to be able to deal with that. And it's quite tricky because the word selfish has a negative connotation. I know some people replace that with the phrase self-aware rather than selfishness. You know, just be more self-aware as to what your needs are at this present moment. But people do find that very difficult.
I'm sure they do find it difficult because at that point, when you go into recovery, you need to be very self-caring. Let's put it that way. That's got to be your priority. But you will be trying to do that at a time when you are also being forced to reflect on all the destruction that you've left around you with the people that you love.
Exactly.
So you're at a time when you probably think, Christ, I'm suddenly becoming aware of how terrible I've been and what an arsehole I've been to live around. At that time, you're being asked to turn further inwards and say, never mind about that at the moment. There's nothing you can do about that at the moment. Until you get yourself well and strong, you're never going to really be able to deal with that and rebuild those relationships. So I imagine that it almost feels like a paradox. At the time when you feel like you ought to be reaching out and saying, I'm sorry, I've been such a shit, it's the last thing you need to be doing, isn't it? You need to be focusing on yourself and your own needs.
Which is a nice place to sort of wind up my notes there. If you go into recovery, self-care has got to be your core value, or your major core value at that stage.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to love yourself, do you? But you almost need to suspend your disbelief that it's possible to.
Yes. Well,
So you need to behave in a way that suggests that you love yourself, even if you don't.
Okay.
Because by that measure, you're more likely to get to the point where you start to see some redeeming features in yourself and realise that you're okay. And part of that work is uncovering your own core values and understanding what's important to you. And the more successfully you can understand what's important to you and then begin to live in that way, the stronger the guide you have to stay in sobriety in the long term.
I agree. But that sort of wraps up my notes. I hope we've done a very big subject justice in a short period of time, and with just skimming over the top of it, really, because there's a lot when you delve into it. And I'm sure in your line of work, it can take up a significant amount of time if you're unraveling people's core.
Yeah, I mean, it's what powers all of us, isn't it?
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't want to go dripping on for too long, do we?
We don't. We need to wind up, really, don't we? After we dripped on far too long early on in this episode.
It's all right. Okay. I mean, we're only around every fortnight now, and theoretically, we could do an hour and a half instead of 45 minutes, couldn't we?
We could drip on further, couldn't we?
I mean, you can always switch off if you don't like it.
That's always, if you're called.
I mean, not you. I don't mean you. You can't.
No. That would you could finish this on your own, couldn't you? Quite easily, I'm sure. Well, we're coming on to the conundrum feature, and
crikey, I've forgotten to find one. But don't worry, I'll find one right now. Right. Is it okay to not disclose the size of a lottery win to your family?
To not disclose?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's okay, is it?
I think so, yes.
Right. Talk me through that then.
I think that I suspect many of us have played that game in your head. What happens if I win the lottery?
Yeah. Are we talking big? Are we talking sort of, multi-millions?
Yeah, not a free lucky dip. No,
but I mean, I think it's a pertinent question because if, let's say you've won, I don't know, 50 grand, it's not necessarily going to change your life.
No,
and it feels to me as if that's the sort of sum that you would be more likely to think, I'm going to keep a lid on that. And
I think so. Well, I think if you won the Euro Millions or the Euro whatever it's called, Euro Lottery.
I don't know what it's called. Yeah.
And you win 60 or 70 million, which is an obscene amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I think keeping it secret, but I think you'd dish it out, wouldn't you? But I think you've got to be really.
That's my question.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you would. I think, but I think
you probably would if you won 70 million. But I suppose I'm thinking more about. I've had a sizable win there, but I might not tell anyone because everyone wants a bit of me, you know.
All right. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it depends upon the size of that.
Also, it depends upon your core values, doesn't it?
It does depend upon your core values and who around you'd like to share that with that. Bit of luck with.
If one of your core values is abject selfishness,
then
you might not, mightn't you? You might spend it all on pizzas.
Whatever you like, pizzas, football cards. I think that guitars maybe, yeah. Because it often, if people that get these big wins, you see it on the news sometimes because they've not ticked the I don't want any publicity box. They're quite happy. I mean, that's the last thing I would do.
I would definitely not want any publicity.
No, I mean, imagine all the amount of people that suddenly come out of the woodwork who want a slice of that. And so that's why when my initial reaction was, it's okay to share it with your family, but not any further than that. That's for sure.
Would you tell me if you won big on the lottery?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of quid. I'll give you a couple.
Well, you should really, because hedonic adaptation says that you'd return to your previous level of happiness anyway.
Yes. Okay.
So even if, let's say, just for argument's sake, you win 2 million next week.
Yeah.
You might as well give most of it to me because hedonic adaptation says that in a while you'll just return to however happy you were before. So the money's not going to make a great deal of difference. So just bear that in mind if you do win big.
I am bearing it in mind, but I've sort of discounted it straight away. But thank you for your input.
Well, don't be hasty.
I think your explanation of hedonic expectation, or was it hedonic
adaptation?
Adaptation. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
But you're just trying to sell me a concept which I'm not buying into.
Well, that's why people don't. That's why people think that when they win big on the lottery, they're going to be happy and all their problems are going to be solved. But they're not, because fundamentally, you need to have achieved a workable level of satisfaction and happiness prior to winning the lottery. So if you're not happy now, my advice is don't bother playing the lottery.
No, it won't bring you that.
Try and get happy first, then play the lottery, and then you'll be able to enjoy your money.
Yeah.
But don't spend it all on drink.
Okay. No, absolutely right. No, that's good advice. So that conundrum then, I think it was a good one, but I think it boils down to depending upon the size of the win and probably the size of your family as well.
And your core values.
And your core values, which fits in nice with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to go on to the gratitude list.
All right.
I'm just going to go straight away because mine's straightforward, which is going back to what I said at the start, completing 13 years of sobriety. Very grateful for that.
I'm not going to be able to trump that one.
Well,
I didn't mean to mention Trump this week, but it was a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Very. Congratulations! It's been an excellent achievement.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm grateful.
And would you say, on balance, you're happier sober than you were in the midst of alcoholism?
Absolutely. If I'd have won the lottery and the madness, that'd have been it. I wouldn't be here today.
Correct. Exactly. That's exactly my point. Exactly, you would have been coming from a low base.
Yeah.
And all that your money would have done will have been to enabled you.
It would. Smirnoff shares would have risen significantly.
Yeah. I was talking to someone the other day who's just very early in sobriety, and I was saying that and this is genuinely true. I mean, you've met a lot more people in recovery than I have, but I've never met anyone who's had a problem with drink or drug dependence that is then in sobriety that is less happy.
Absolutely not.
I've never met anyone. I mean, it's literally nobody I've ever met says, I wish I was still drinking. I wish I was still taking drugs.
Yeah.
No, it might be difficult. There might be difficult periods in abstinence, but I've never met anyone that said, I was happier when I was drinking.
No, you become a better version of yourself. And I think it's almost, there's nothing in life is guaranteed, but as close to 100% guarantee is that what recovery will bring you is a better version of yourself.
Yeah. Good.
There's very, very few people that go through the system and come out worse.
Yeah.
And nastier and horribler. Is that a word?
I don't think horribler is, but we know what you mean.
We go with that.
So I've got, on my gratitude list, I bought myself a little espresso machine recently.
Did you?
Yeah. On Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Frugal.
Yeah. But I hadn't realised what a minefield making coffee was. And you know how I like to dive down a rabbit hole and get engrossed in stuff. So I'm grateful there's a guy called James Hoffman who has a YouTube channel all about all manner of different things coffee related. Okay. And I'm partially grateful to him because he's been very helpful in educating me in the rights and wrongs of making good coffee. But I'm also slightly less grateful for him because he's taken a lot of my time when I should have been doing other things.
Okay.
But on balance, I think, I feel grateful because I like learning stuff and I just so happen to be learning a lot about coffee at the moment.
Yeah, I'm learning is one of your core values. As
it definitely is.
On.
Personal growth, definitely one of my core values. Personal growth,
which you continue relentlessly to this day, it always seems to me.
I do. I like learning, constantly. Which there's probably a downside for people who are in personal relationships with me, but sorry, everyone.
Yeah. Okay. We go on to our last little quiz then, the last bit.
Yeah.
Quiz, which is music and football.
Yep.
So
I'm ready.
The years we're choosing, you may have done some research. I don't know.
No, I haven't done any bloody. Why do you think I'm doing? You obviously think one of my core values is dishonesty.
No. No, you're right. I was saying that almost tongue in cheek, really.
Yeah, I haven't. I promise I haven't done any homework. I mean, how my performance on this could ever suggest to anyone that I've done any homework is.
Well, it would spoil it, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's what I was going to go on to say before you steamed across me. We're looking at years 76, 86 and 96, okay?
All right. 76.
76. So what do you reckon the best-selling single in the UK was in 1976?
Okay, I'm going to have a go at this without any help.
Okay.
I think you should let me have a couple of goes.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I'm going to go Boney M.
No.
Oh. Right. I need some help then in that case. Give us a clue.
I will give you a clue.
Yeah.
It was a Eurovision song.
Oh. Was it?
It was a UK Eurovision song.
Was it Brotherhood of Man?
It was.
Kisses for Me?
Save your kisses. Yes,
Yeah.
Save Your Kisses for Me, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay, so I must get some sort of point for that.
I think so. I think we'll let you have, because you got the song, didn't you?
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
We'll let you have 5 points on that.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Do you know who won the FA Cup that year?
Oh, was it Man United?
They didn't win it.
Oh, but they played in it.
They did.
Was it Man United Sunderland?
No, they didn't. I don't think they've ever played Sunderland.
Oh, Southampton.
It was Southampton, yes.
Southampton, and the score was, well, I want to say either 1-0 or 3-2.
It was 1-0.
Right.
I think it's
Bobby Stoko scored.
Bobby Stoko got the winner, who sadly passed on.
Right.
These days, which I think...
So there's got to be points in that for me.
There's got to be points in that for you. We're going to give you 5 points for that.
Lovely. Excellent. Good.
So 1986...
Right, 1986. I reckon the best-selling single was probably Madonna.
It was no.
Oh, you almost told me there, didn't you?
I did, but
so give me a little leg up.
What shall I tell you? The band consisted of someone that has since become a vicar.
Oh, was it the Communards?
It was the Communards. Yes.
Don't Leave Me This Way.
Don't Leave Me This Way.
All right. Excellent. That was. I didn't like it at the time, but I'd probably quite enjoy listening to it now.
Oh, because I remember I remember back there was, because that was obviously it had previously been done by Harry Melvin and the Blue Notes, because I remember that being in the charts at the same time as Thelma Houston had a version. It's one of those weird occasions where two versions of the same song were in the charts.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember that at the time, and I quite liked the song there at that time. I thought Communards made a reason.
Yeah, I didn't like it at the time. You liked all that sort of stuff, though, in those days, didn't you? And I wasn't that keen. I mean, Paul liked that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, I think he influenced me with the electronic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was a load of old shite. But
So
anyway,
what do you reckon the cup final was that year in '86?
I'm going to say, because they were quite good in the mid-'80s, I'm going to say Everton.
They were in the final. Well, they've been in a lot of these, haven't they?
Okay, I'm going to say it was, well, let's say it was Everton-Liverpool.
It was, yeah.
And it was 2-0.
It was 3-1.
Ah!
Yeah. I think it's that famous. I remember watching it on the TV. You used to watch on the television the build up to the FA Cup final.
Yeah, you used to have cup final, it's a knockout.
Yeah. And I remember the Liverpool and Everton fans would travel down together in their cars with each other. It was
very rare.
It's very rare to see that.
And now we're on to 96.
We are.
Right, 96 must have been Manchester United.
We are. I was going to do the single first.
Oh, sorry. Okay. 96. No, you're going to have to give me some help here.
Yeah, this is
with 90s.
No, this is quite a tricky one. It was obviously a big song, and you'll know it. But again, it's one that had been covered as a cover version.
You're going to have to give me more than that.
Yeah. The original was by Roberta Flack. In fact, before that, it was Laurie Lieberman who first wrote it, put it out. But Roberta Flack...
Laurie Lieberman sided with Rosie?
I don't know. I don't see the connection there, but...
well, Laurie Lee wrote sided with Rosie.
Oh, right, yeah.
No, I don't know what that is.
It was Killing Me Softly. Can you remember who did the version in 1996?
I can't, no.
No. Wasn't that in... What was that?
Who was it?
It was the Fugees.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, of course it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd never have got that. We'd have been here all bloody morning.
What was that film with Hugh Grant? Was it called About a Boy? Something like that, where the
it might have been.
Lad lad does a version of that in his school assembly, Killing Me
That's
Softly.
Nick Hornby, isn't it? About a boy.
Nick Hornby, yes, an adaptation of his book. Anyway, we drip on. Yes, so yeah, that's
Right.
no points there, but you've got one already for Man United being in the final for this one.
Good. So I'm going to go Man United 96. Man United v. Could be anyone, couldn't it? Leeds.
It was Liverpool.
Oh.
I've got a feeling. I haven't researched this, but I believe that was it. Do you know what the score was?
I'm going to say 3-2.
It was 1-0. You like a 3-2?
That's what I meant. I meant 1-0.
I've got a feeling that was the Eric Cantona goal, wasn't it? He scored won the final, but I can't.
Was it the season that he drop kicked a fan at Crystal Palace?
that was one of the most explosive moments ever, and it was fantastic viewing. That was
almost as good as Paolo Di Canio pushing the referee over.
it's one of those defining moments in the sport.
Yeah,
but that brings us to the end of our dripping on today.
Yeah, we've done almost an hour today. Don't think we've ever broken the hour, have we?
No. And
we could sort of sing a song for a few minutes now.
I think people would have turned off long before now.
I don't think that's true. I think, I don't think I think you're underestimating the tenacity and staying power of our listeners.
Perhaps I am, but I'm very grateful for it if that's the case.
Yeah, we've done gratitude, so
we have.
By the way, I had a thought the other day. Here's something to ruminate on before we meet again.
I better jot it down again then in that case.
Well, what I'm interested in here is brass and woodwind instruments showing up in popular music unexpectedly.
Blimey,
Tell you where it came from. I was listening to Wish You Were Here.
Oh yeah.
Pink Floyd album.
Pink Floyd, yeah.
And in Shine On You Crazy Diamond,
yeah,
there's that saxophone solo that turns up. You think, whoa, where's that come from?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'd heard it before, but if you hadn't heard it before, you'd think that I wasn't expecting that, but it's fantastic. And then I started thinking about, that happens a lot in popular music where you're thinking, oh, there's a saxophone there or a clarinet or a flute or something. So I'm not, you can't have Jerry Rafferty Baker Street.
No, because that's expected.
Correct. So I'm interested in any songs that you think, that was an unexpected bit of brass or woodwind that's really added something to the piece.
I've jotted one down already, so I don't forget.
Right. Well, don't forget next time, like you did with Serendipity.
I did, but it was on my pad, so I'm all right.
All right. Okay.
All right. Nice one.
See you later.
See you later. Bye.
Laters. Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.